Hey gang, it's your boy Platt, back with another Spirit Series video. Today we're starting a new section. We're going to start talking about tequila. Tequila, quite simply, is a distilled spirit made from the blue agave plant. Remember that part, the blue agave plant. It is primarily produced in the area around the city of Tequila, which is in the Mexican state of Jalisco. Tequila is a highly regulated spirit, similar to that of cognac, scotch, bourbon here in the U.S. In Mexico, there's something called the TRCM, Tequila Regulatory Council of Mexico. They run herd over tequila, tequila production, tequila labeling, the whole process. One of the regulations they have is on every bottle, usually on the back or wherever, you will see what's called the NOM, Norma Oficial Mexicano. That is basically the distillery number. You'll see it on the back, maybe in small print, but you will find it. And if you take that number and type in NOM, let's say it's 1492, which I want to say that's the number for Jose Cuervo or whatever. You'll type that into Google, and you can find out where, find out about that distillery. More importantly, you may find out the other tequilas they produce besides the one you currently are drinking. That's because in Mexico, a lot of times one distillery produces several products, not just the product line of that specific tequila, but several different tequila brands. But you can find that out through the NOM. Some of the other regulations on tequila and what makes tequila tequila. First and foremost, it has to be bottled and produced in Mexico. Also, it has to be produced. And the agave has to be grown in 5 states. There are 5 states in Mexico: Jalisco, Guanajuato, Nayarit, Michoacan, and Tamaulipas. I hope I'm saying those right. Primarily the production's in Jalisco, but those other states surround it, and there's limited production in those states. But it has to be produced in those states. Has to be from the agave plant, also known as agave Weber. Cannot use any other of the agave plants. There are several other varieties, including Mezcal, which we'll get into in a separate video. Has to be bottled at between 70 and 110 proof. Here in the U.S., that has to be at least 80 proof to be sold here, but in other places it may be as low as 70 proof. The name tequila and the product itself, besides being protected by the TRCM in Mexico, it's protected by international trade agreements, things like NAFTA, the EU, etc. So you're not going to see tequila from Australia or Uganda. There are other places in the world making an agave spirit, but tequila can only come from Mexico. There are 2 main types of tequila. There is 100% agave, which means 100% of the fermentable sugars came from the agave plant, specifically the blue agave plant. And you will see that labeled. Then there's what's called mixto, M-I-X-T-O. Those tequilas have to have at least 51% of the sugars come from that blue agave. Additional sugars can be added in. A lot of times it's cane sugar. You will not see mixto on the label. If you don't see 100% agave on there, you will then know it's a mixto. There are 4 different age statements for tequila. And actually, those can apply to mixtos, not just 100% agaves. The term blanco is no aging up to 2 months of aging. And when I talk about aging, most of the time they're aging those in oak barrels, usually used oak barrels. I believe like Herradura use this used Jack Daniels barrel. Most of the time these distilleries in Mexico are going to use used bourbon barrels, but sometimes they may play around and use some wine barrels or something else. Then there's reposado, which is aged for 2 months up to 12 months. Third, we have añejo. In the past, the añejo was the oldest. It was just anything a year or older. But the tequila regulators have, to kind of keep up with the times, have created a new category. Now añejo is between 1 and 3 years, and anything older than 3 years is now considered extra añejo. It's kind of their way to keep up with, you know, not too long ago, you didn't see too many bourbons over 10, 12 years here in the U.S. Now, you know, Pappy Van Winkle's got 23, Michter's got 25. Of course, Scotch now, there's 25s, 30s, 50s. I mean, it's become almost arm race with the aging. The extra añejo is tequila's way to keep up with that. Quick little history on tequila. Tequila was first produced in the 1500s in the state of Jalisco. At the time, the Mexican or the Spanish conquistadors had come over, started taking over. They loved their brandy, but there weren't a lot of grapes in Mexico, even though there later became a wine industry in there. So they started distilling a local native beverage called pulque. Pulque was for lack of a better term, a wine derived from the agave. It wasn't always a blue agave, just to spell that out. But again, that's kind of the origins. They would make this pulque and then distill it, and that was kind of their substitute for brandy. But that is what later became tequila. Spain's King Carlos IV granted the Cuervo family the first license to distill tequila in Mexico. Later on, a gentleman named Don Cenobio Sauza became the first tequila distillery to commercially export tequila to the U.S. Some tequila had been working its way up into the U.S., but not in a legal business technical sense. Speaking of Don Cenobio Sauza, it is his tequila that we're going to try today. This is Sauza Tequila Gold, 80 proof. Quickly mention, no one on the label. We do not see it says anywhere that it's 100% agave, which tells us this is a mixto tequila. The company was founded in 1873 by Don Cenobio, and currently is owned by the spirit conglomerate Beam Suntory. That is a combination of Jim Beam and the Japanese whiskey maker Suntory. Let's give her a try. All right. I pick up shade caramel, and just to let you know, there is possibility there could be some caramel coloring in there. I get some of that classic tequila smell, that almost smell of doom. That being said, this is not too hot on the nose. Let's give it a try. That's tequila, yeah. That being said, it's fairly smooth. It's not, this is definitely not the rot gut stuff you drink in college. It is, like I said, somewhat smooth. Not real complex. Get just shade of bite on the side of my tongue. Finish is kind of medium. Does it taste like a worm's been in there? Which is a misnomer. The worm thing is more mezcal, not tequila. We'll go in that when we talk about mezcal. Overall, this is an okay tequila. It is probably perfectly functional for tequila sunrises, margaritas, stuff like that. This is not something I would just sip neat, though. I will save that for the extra añejos, what have you. But again, it's perfectly functional tequila for parties. Not too bad overall. Well, I hope you liked this video. If you did, please subscribe down below. Also, please like the video because it lets YouTube know we're putting out good content. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please leave them in the comment section, or you can always contact me on the Twitter page. Till next time, bottoms up.